Dear students, Assalamu alaikum. I'm Dr. Shahid, your course instructor of web designing. This is lecture number 8, and before this, we have studied HTML and CSS. And now we are going to start another very important topic, that is JavaScript. So in today's session, these are some of the points that we will be covering. First of all, I would like to revisit the web application architecture to understand how web application works. For that matter, we will understand different technologies, and we will look into the client-side technologies, and our focus will be on JavaScript. So let's start. Whenever you want to access any website, you need to open a web browser on your machine. You have different options in order to access any website. For example, you can open Internet Explorer, Google Chrome, or Firefox. First of all, you will have to type the website address you want to access. For example, in this case, we want to access the Higher Education Commission site, www.hec.gov.pk. And when you click the enter button to load, your request is generated and sent over to the server. Once server is located and your response is ready, then it is sent back to your machine. As now you can see that basically there are two machines involved while entertaining your request, and that is client-side machine, and the other one is server-side machine. So all those technology that are being executed on client side are called client-side technologies, and as you can see, these are HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Similarly, on the server side, you need to have a language and database systems such as MySQL, SQL Server, etc., and also a web server as well. Now looking into this web architecture, you can see that if you do not send your request to the server, then you can execute your client-side technologies on your machine, and probably you can easily guess that you need browser to execute your client-side code. So why we need JavaScript? Initially, when JavaScript was developed, the intention was to embed it directly into the HTML to automate various things on a client side. What can be automated on client side? The first thing could be the validation of the form. Let's look into this example. As you can see, this form contains two text fields, username and password, and as you can follow that various messages are shown before sending the data to the server. Similarly, another thing that can be automated on client side is the document object model. You can manipulate DOM on the client side. You don't need to worry about the DOM at this point. but just to make sure that you understand the brief concept of the DOM, I'm showing here another example. As you can see in this example, this is an HTML page containing two buttons and a table having multiple rows. As you can see that rows can be added by clicking on Add Row button, and similarly you can delete any row by clicking on the Delete Row button. Now basically you are playing with HTML inside the browser. So this can be done with the help of JavaScript. Other than this, JavaScript can be used to send requests to the server asynchronously, and that technology is called AJAX, Asynchronous JavaScript and XML. And here you can see another example where the JavaScript importance can be realized. This is an example of Google suggestions. You type something in Google search bar, and based on your typing, further data from the server is retrieved on your machine. And as you can see at the bottom of this image, the requests are sent, and then you can see that the search bar is populated with more relevant entries. Apart from these important features, JavaScript can now also be used for server-side programming. And this, if you are interested, you can look into the Node.js, and also JavaScript can be used for app development for Android and iOS platform. The last two options will not be covered in this course, and we will only be focusing on the top two options. Now, how to write JavaScript code? For that matter, I would like to demonstrate it practically. Let's move on to the actual folder. Let me create first an HTML file. First file, and I rename it firstfile.html. As you can see that the icon has changed to the browser. Now let me add some HTML tags in it. As you can see, there is nothing in this file, so let's start entering some HTML basic tag in it. Every HTML document should contain HTML tag, and for adding JavaScript, the proper location is the head tag, and there should be a body tag, so let me enter the body tag. Now we add one heading tag, which is h1, So if we want to see its effect, we can look into it in a browser. As you can see, we have added a heading tag and it has been shown in the browser. So now let's add some JavaScript to this file. JavaScript can be added directly inside the HTML, or we can create another separate file and we can add that particular file in the HTML. So let's start with directly entering the JavaScript code in the HTML file. For this, we need script tag. Here you can add your JavaScript code. I'm just entering the alert code. It will show a message upon loading a page. It will show a hello world message to the user when this page is loaded. Now let's reload this page. Hello world. Now if you want to show this message to the user, but you want this code in a separate file, for this we need to create a separate JavaScript file first. So now let me create a JavaScript file. This I have named it first, and the extension of JavaScript file is JS. File is created, and now you can add your code in this JavaScript file. In JavaScript file, you don't need to add any tag. You will directly write your code in this file. And once you are done with your file, then you need to add this file in your HTML. Now let me change this HTML script tag to which JavaScript code or file can be added. So here you need to add another attribute, and you can type the file name. Now let's reload the HTML file once again. As you can see that this message is now coming from JavaScript file which we created separately. Fine. Now probably you will have noticed that upon entering the src tag, now this code is not working. If you want to add multiple script tags, then you can create it, and now the code which was not executing in the first script tag, because of the source tag, you can copy this code to another script tag. And now if we look into the behavior, we can see that hi, I am from file. This message was added in the file, and now this hello world, which is embedded directly in the HTML, is shown to the user. And so far we have shown the messages, and these messages are shown upon the loading of the page. But we see on the web pages that we perform some actions, and in response to that action some JavaScript code is executed. For this purpose you need to understand HTML events. You can capture those events to perform certain actions. Some of the events are on click, when you click on something, and similarly you can capture the event of on mouse over, similarly on page load, on form submit. Let me demonstrate the on click event. For this I will open the same page. Now I remove these script tags and I want to add a button in this HTML file. Button can be created with the help of input tag. Type equal to button, value is shown as label on the button. Click me, and now this is the HTML event on click which we were talking about, and here we need to add a JavaScript code. Now I just want to show a message to a user. File has been saved, and let's reload the page. As you can see the button, and now I click it and you can see the message is shown to the user.